Explosive edge breakdown. Today we're looking at force transfer and why speed doesn't carry over. In the short, I talked about how force isn't usually the problem. Most athletes can generate force, of course, but the issue is what happens after that. Now, look at both sides here. I want you to watch both sides of the video. On one side, you've got force going into the ground, but there's a breakdown. You can see the collapse through the hips, and I circle it there for you. And that affects everything above it. So I'm talking about torso, shoulders, arms, head. Now look at the other side. You still have force going into the ground, but the torso stays long. The hips are stable. No anterior or posterior pelvic tilt. No dropping of the hips. That's the difference. Because speed isn't just about producing force. It's about how that force moves through your system. On the side with the collapse, the force gets lost. There's a break in the chain. So instead of that force traveling from foot to hip through the torso to propel you forward, it leaks. Now on the other side, the same force is able to move clean through the body. And while it's moving through the body cleanly, that force transfers through the system effortlessly. And that is what allows speed to show up. Now, this is where a lot of athletes get it wrong. I know you guys hear me talk about foot flexion a lot in my videos. And yes, that is extremely important because that's where force application starts. But even when the foot is doing what it's supposed to do, if your hips collapse, you're still losing speed because your system isn't organized. Now, understand, this isn't just about sprinting. It applies to any explosive movement in your sport. Cutting, jumping, changing direction. If the force doesn't transfer, the moment breaks, your movement breaks down. Now, another piece to this is that you're not just driving into the ground aimlessly. Okay, you're applying pressure through the ball of the foot, high pressure, and you're doing that spending as little time on the ground as possible. So, how do you know you're quick enough off the ground? Well, as an elite, former elite triple jumper, and having a lot of talks with an elite sprint jumps coach that I know is a good friend of mine who's actually become a bit of a mentor, we discuss this often. And he recently said to me, you want to contact the ground like you're stinging like a bumblebee. And I found that interesting. But when you think about that, how fast does a bumblebee sting? It's quick, right? And that's the idea of the quickness of the foot striking the ground, like a bee sting. That's what your foot needs to mimic. Quick contact, immediate pressure, then you're off it. Because if you stay on the ground too long, you end up pushing that force right back down into the ground. You lose timing, you lose your natural running flow, and now you're forced to overpower the movement. And when you're overpowering your movement, that's not speed. Speed shows up when force is applied, when the body is organized, and that force transfers clean through your system. That's what you're seeing on the stable side, the athlete on the right. And that's what's missing on the other side, the athlete on the left. Now, watch both sides again. Look at the hips, the torso, how the force moves or doesn't. Now do you see the difference? Force isn't the problem, guys. Transfer is. So remember that. This has been an Explosive Edge breakdown. Subscribe for more movement analysis on speed, power, and the brain-body connection. I'm Coach Emil. Continue to soar.